Welcome to Trauma, Healing, and the Child's Mind series. This journey was born from a powerful personal revelation, a mother's call to transform pain into purpose. We sincerely believe that even from the deepest wounds, wisdom can emerge. Through focused learning and nurturing, our expert team brings unique insights and powerful tools to help you shift your perspective and truly begin your healing journey. At Driven Livin', we're here to support you with resources like the Drive Collective, self-improvement courses, guided meditations, and journaling. If any part of this conversation triggers you, please find immediate professional resources listed in our description. This is our shared path to evolving our paths into wisdom together. I hope you enjoy the series. Your Inner Goddess, Healing and Resilience After Trauma with Rocio Aquino and Angel Orengo. Is it possible to rediscover your strength after trauma? Join me for a conversation with Rocio and Angel, authors of The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. They'll share insights on finding resilience and reclaiming your power after difficult experiences. We'll explore how connecting with your inner goddess can lead to healing and transformation, and how symbolism and metaphor can guide us through recovery. Discover how to nurture your resilience and embrace your true self on your healing journey. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, where you're about to go on a wellness-driven ride. Welcome. Let me share a little bit about the guests that we have with us today. Rocio Aquino and Angel Orengo, co-authors of The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. More than just authors, they are partners in life and spirit, wanderers who have found home in each other's hearts. Their journey has taken them across the globe, from bustling cities to ancient temples, where they've gathered knowledge and understanding about lessons learned. It's a tribute to the resilient spirit of women they've encountered, whose tales of courage and transformation have deeply inspired them. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show. I'm so honored to welcome you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. This is a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thanks very much.
You are so welcome. And I appreciate you coming on during this incredible series that we have on the Wellness Driven Life Show. The work that you two have done is absolutely extraordinary, from your travels, your personal experiences. So I'd love to dive deep with all of that today to really bring some value to the audience during their own trials and tribulations. But let's get started by sharing a little bit more about yourself so they can get to know you more.
So I was born in Mexico for a very dysfunctional family where we didn't talk much, we didn't say much. And after my mom died when I was 20 years old, she was very sad and depressed. And I have all the challenge of the world that you can imagine. So after going a profound, at 28, finally, I met this amazing man, and little by little, I was going from this is a terrible day to this is a good day. So together we were living two different places in the world. But who are you? Tell us.
Well, I'm from Puerto Rico, April, and I've traveled a lot. I come also from very humble beginnings, from amazing people that did the best that they could and loved me very much, but also very challenged. For example, I didn't meet my father. I actually met my father once fully for 5 hours, and I was 40 years old when that happened. And I mean, there were many things along the way that really pushed me to the extremes, like many people around the world. But little by little, things started changing: work, careers, travel, a great relationship. And that just led us down a path. And I think the first path that we encountered was really friendship.
Yes.
And success, because we were doing quite well economically. We had corporate jobs. But somewhere along the way, and as we traveled more, that became quite obvious. We realized that it just wasn't enough. And that led to a lot of questions, One question in particular was from Rocio.
Yes.
And Rocio would go around asking people how to forgive.
Yes, I was asking, April, how do you forgive? Because at one point I was feeling like, really, the normal thing to do in my family was, if you cross me, I don't want to see you again, ever. At one point, it's like needs to be another way, different, how we can do it. So I begin to ask people questions. How do you forgive? But no one was able to give me a formula exactly. Like you need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So at one point, when I finally found the formula and experienced myself, was a change so profound that I was thinking, you know what? This is fantastic. We should share the formula with the world for everyone to see how you can feel different, but really true in your spirit. So that's what's important.
Yeah.
Rocio, I would love to know, what was that like for you? Because, so many of us know what forgiveness, that is so difficult to get to in the beginning, right? When we've been so harmed, and you would say it's absolute unforgivable. So what was that like for you? Was it a shift in perception? Was it an actual step-by-step process? Can you share a little bit about your experience with that and what it felt like in the moment where you really understood forgiveness?
What I understood is that I didn't know that we have a connection between our thoughts and our emotional body. When you have that energy still in your body, you continue to associate that thinking with the feeling, with the sensation. So in that case, when I was really able to let go the anger, the sadness, through different techniques and through different tools, I was really for example, I was thinking about something difficult, and then I was feeling here in my throat or in my stomach. And at one point, after going to the process, really, the feeling when I was thinking in the same thing is not there anymore. So for me, was like a lifting a building that I was carrying.
Yeah.
Really. And for you?
Well, we had really different experiences, even though we come from similar backgrounds, and backgrounds in the sense that they were all challenged, right? We were challenged in childhood, growing up, etc. For whatever reason, and some of us come equipped that way, I always saw life as a glass half full. Rocio was always looking at life as a glass half empty.
Or empty.
Or totally empty.
Or empty.
I had been participant of that also, but I was able to let it go. And she would ask me, but how did you let it go? and I didn't have the words. So in my case, what was absent was really the understanding, still the very same understanding she was looking for, not because I needed it, because I kind of felt like I could let go of things, but more because I wanted to understand it. And at some point, it really was just to experience it. Somewhere along the way, April, and when we were going through these exercises, you don't know which exercise is going to work. You just go through it. And so you start, it's almost like you just have to go to the store of what can help me to forgive, to be grateful, and so on and so forth, and pick every product. And like we do in the supermarket, just see what works and do I like it, not like it. And if I don't like it, I won't buy it again. But if I do, go deeper into it. And that's what started to happen as we started reading more, taking courses.
At one point, when I was 20, I wanna take my life. So when you are in that place that is super dark and you feel totally lonely, that no one is caring about you, really, people, when you are like that, people really don't know what to do with you. So the only thing that I was able to do is go to the psychology. So I went to therapy for 5 years. It was good, but at one point it's like, this is not giving me the full spectrum of how I can remove the feeling and really forgive. So from when I was 20 until I was 50, and after traveling the world and going on a master and reading more than 200 books, we finally saw that not everything works for everyone, but the most important part is the answers are inside of me. And really the most important part is, life is gonna continue to happen, but we have choices. So what I described today is like I was living in a cult of sadness, victimhood, like a really very dark, not empowered at all. So I don't know if because was, of course, my culture, and then it's like you cannot talk about certain things ever. So when you really go and learn a way to really take it out of your system, it's like this is incredible. I didn't know that you can do many different small things for you to feel better about where you are right now.
I want to say thank you so much, Rocio, for sharing that and being vulnerable about that. And when we are in those places and we come out of those places, we seek to understand. And that thus begins the journey. Angel, I love what you said about how it's not one size fits all. It's continuously investigating tools to see what makes sense for us. And there are so many tools. There's a plethora, right? The world is full of infinite possibilities of all the things. But there's going to be a few things, many things that really catch us, where we have that profound understanding, awakening, knowing, and it all certainly stems up from within. It's just that outside thing that kind of trickles in front of our faces, and it's like, hey, I want to show you something. It's like this gleaming, shimmering light that you're drawn to, and you're kind of trying to see it and understand it, and then you do see it, and it's like everything from within is like, I see you, I'm a part of you, I know this is the truth. So what a beautiful thing. And it makes a lot of sense why you have created the book in the way that you have. So we're going to move into our first commercial. And when we get back, let's dive in a little bit of the essence of the Orchid book, what that's like, the stories, and all of the healing insights. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Are you ready to take control of your ride to wellness? Rev up with Driven Living. Visit www.drivenliving.com and buckle up for a journey. Get exclusive access to our Wellness Driven Life Show guest portal, where you can dive deep into the minds of our esteemed guests. Sign up for our newsletter and get insider scoops on these distinguished personalities. It's like having a backstage pass to their life-changing wisdom. But that's not all. You'll also receive a free hug. You heard me right, a free hug. An enlightening ebook from the Driven Living team. Discover the science-backed benefits of hugging yourself. It's a fill-up for your wellness tank. Because at Driven Living, we believe in fueling your journey to wellness, both physically and psychologically. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.drivenliving.com today. Welcome back, everyone. Here with Angel and Rocio, I am so pleased to have you guys on the show because you have gone through your own experiences. You've shared a little bit about that. You've created this incredible, beautiful book for people to utilize tools and wisdom through that on their own healing journey. It's been discussed that, during this series of, we talk a lot about a child's mind and children, but really most of our traumas stem in childhood. Right? Just like you talked about, Rocio, growing up, this is what it was like. The household didn't really have an understanding or wasn't very graceful when it came to acceptance, compassion, love, healing in those sort of ways. And so when we're engulfed in that, of course, we don't know how to respond. And when we have this awareness of, well, maybe it could be different and maybe I can think of things differently, then we start the journey. So let's talk about this compilation of stories that you've created. Please share with us what it's all about.
So this is the book, a beautiful story of successful, really, because at the one point, all the women who goes to this spa is at the end of the rope. It's like I've been having a lot of difficulties.
Yeah, there's 5 women in the story, and there's sexual abuse.
Yes.
There is divorce.
Yes.
There's anger with the world. There's actually success, but because of the trauma that she carries, she can't enjoy it. And then there's gender ambiguity. What am I? Can I be who I am? Will people still love me? And what we decided to do is really tell their stories, fictional stories, but when you read it, it's real because it's people that is all around us all the time. And contrary to many other books or other stories where we spend the majority of the time focusing on what's happening to the individual and what are the traumas and the turbulence that they're experiencing, here we focus on a small percentage of the book on that. But the majority of the book is about how they reach this place called the Orchid, yes, and across 7 days, learn how to change their lives, really by loving themselves, which is the main goal. And to do that through 5 lessons: awareness, gratitude, forgiveness, acceptance, and intention. And we've spoken about this. Really is about starting to see life as I'm in charge of it. I'm in charge of my energy. And if I use those 5 tools, I become unstoppable because then I become the owner of my energy. I'm no longer giving it away to the past, to other people, to hope.
Yeah.
And
so it becomes really, really powerful when you read it and you experience it through their eyes.
What I love about the book more is that give you a guide to really understand where you are and where you can move to discover, to really another way to jump to another energy. And really from there, create different. Because when you don't know what you don't know. And it's what we want with the book and the novel, because when they normally give you a self-help book, is the story of somebody, but here is the story of 5 women that really is not about you, but is about you, because you begin to relate that what is happening, and you begin to see what is your mother, your sister, your friend, everyone. And then we found that we are more common in our issues and our fears than what we think. So it's beautiful to see that during community we can heal to and have support. That is the most important part.
That's so beautiful. And you're absolutely right. When we sharing the stories, we get to relate, having that community piece. We don't feel alone anymore, because usually we're very, very alone and feel very alone when we're in those darkest moments. We don't feel like we have relation with anyone, that people don't understand us or have had similar experiences. I think it's very interesting. And I love that you brought in somebody who was successful, but they couldn't enjoy it. I mean, that happens so often, right? When we're out there chasing so many things, we don't know why, but we're chasing happiness. But once it comes, we can't even be happy with it, because there's something darker and deeper within that hasn't been resolved. And so this is something, again, another tool that we can utilize. You have 5 stories. What was it like for you two? Because, as a creator of books and programs and all the things, I know that when you put these things down on paper, it can be difficult, but you're kind of mapping out, okay, what makes the most sense? What was that like for the 2 of you when coming up with the 5 stories that you felt was going to make the most impact for, a very wide range audience?
Well, it was a process, of course. The good thing is that we were living that process, right? The women, 5 women are us. We capture in each of them something. I was sexually abused as a child at 9 years old.
For me, was when I was a teenager.
So there's that represented. We come from divorced mothers.
Yes.
Rocio also is previously divorced. So every single one of the characters that we capture was really a piece of us. And if it's not us, it's someone who was very close to us, or the news about everything that's happening all around us. So that was simple, kind of putting together what were the different stories that we needed to write about. And the process was me observing Rocio many times, because as you mentioned before, she was experiencing a change that was physical. She could feel the pain or the emotion. And it's really interesting. Someone once shared with us, it doesn't matter whether you were sexually abused or mom or dad didn't pick you up on time from school. The memory that's embedded in your body is, I'm not loved, or I'm not lovable. And
not enough.
I'm not enough. And so we walk our lives with that energy inside of us. And so we start looking at the world through that lens every time that something happens. And so when we started doing that and writing, eventually we wrote so much, we got help to put it together. It really became a process of a lot of respect, a lot of admiration. Rocio and I had worked together in a previous life before we became romantically involved. We were partners in business. And so it was easy to go back to that place and look at what both of us brought to the table and focus on the book. But really, as we were changing, April, it was so profound. I was becoming a better person. She was becoming a better person. Our marriage improved to the best that it's been in 25 years.
I become a better mother, and a better mother because, for example, I was, instead of going and reacting of a place of anger, of I'm not enough, you don't listen to me, of frustration, I was able to begin to stop. And it's like, okay, what I want to say and from where I say it. So that's why we put in the book all about limiting beliefs. So you can see it clearly how the characters, all of them, everyone has different limiting beliefs that we have it from our mothers, for our family, and is how we can change that. So is consciousness, is understanding the way we think, the way we act. And for first time, I was aligned. My way of thinking, the way I was talking, the way I was feeling, and the way I was acting was really the same. And that for me was a moment of what? I didn't love myself until I was 50. So really all this has been doing because I was feeling I'm not enough. Until I remove all that nightmare that I was carrying with myself, then I was free.
Wow. You brought me chills. You said I didn't love myself until I was 50.
Yes.
And so much of what we want to do is hit that at a little earlier age, hopefully, for most people, right? We want to gift that to the world. And you guys are certainly bringing that to the forefront. What I heard was as you were creating this and wanting to bring healing to others and investigating that, it in turn is that reciprocal aspect and doing it to you internally as well. It's healing not only the internal, the external, it heals you, and then it just carries on. You know, we know that those frequencies scientifically emanate from us. And so it affects those around us, you know, whether you're right next to them or far away from them. And that's the beautiful thing about when we do the work to heal ourselves. It just is so ever expansive in what we can do. And that is my definition of us evolving, and evolving as a species is by us healing ourselves first. So you said that you mentioned, Rocio, that you felt it shifting and moving within you. Can you shine a little bit more light about what that was like for you, where you felt the energies in your body, certain areas in your body, what that was like, how you associated them with certain traumas?
For example, at one point, I was not able to talk to anyone about sexual abuse. So that was really stuck in my throat. In the moment that I was able to work with that, the energy that I was feeling here was released. But today I can talk in a neutral way because I've been working so hard to really remove the shame and the guilt that carry for so much time, all these this belief that was my fault, that I carry, that maybe, society sometimes are very quick to judge women. So at one point, if you dress in a certain way, it's like probably you create something like that. So at one point you doubt if it was you who creates something like that. So moving to getting older, now I have 2 teenagers, daughters, and I have the words to express myself and to tell them, at one point, feel free to talk with anything. So really, when I changed like a mother, I was able to clean. I was able to totally, completely say this to my kids, to my 2 women, because they now understand, to get to know their feelings better, their emotions. Where do you feel it? Where it is? Let's talk about that. And then in the book, we put the tools that we are suggesting the characters who are passing a sexual abuse, how to do it, how you can sit down and write. And then what is another therapy that is being working. So in the moment that then energy left my body, so I begin to see neutrality, a lot of compassion, understanding, and really I understand, very important, that what happened 5 seconds ago doesn't matter anymore. So the most important part is to be here in the present. And the body understand that it doesn't hold anything inside anymore. That is the most important.
Yeah, one of the things that we wanted to create in the book, and the book does that really well, is the essence of creating a safe space.
Yes.
A really safe space. Because normally it is not that we're so afraid of going into those dark places inside of us because we feel lonely, because we feel judged, because the list is long. But if you feel safe, and that may come from a book, a person, a friend, a moment, being in nature, whatever it is where you feel safe, where you can go in and say, I've been hiding away from this, or I've been looking at this for such a long time. I no longer wanted to control my life. And I think that's a question everybody has to ask themselves. Is this controlling your life to the point where it's impacting the way you behave, the way you act, and even your happiness? And if it is, and you can separate yourself a little bit from it and say, I am not that. It did happen to me, but I am not that. I am here. I am safe. That happened 5 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever it is. That is a huge step because you are separating yourself from that incident, from that behavior, from that memory. And that is the first step towards acknowledging that there is a separation that already exists between you, the being, and the act or the incident. And that is gigantic. If you can do that, kudos, take that first step, because once you see something, you can actually do something about it. If you don't see it and you say, I am abused, I am a victim, you're still behaving in that mode as opposed to, I was victimized some time ago. And that's huge. And that's what started happening. You start separating yourself from it. And then the next stage is to learn tools that elevate your energy. And like you mentioned before, there's so much available right now. Conversation, journaling, yoga, running.
So for example, April, something that happened to me is at one point I was feeling that I was really full of issues. Full. But you can imagine, I was feeling like ¿cómo se llama ese animal? Porcupine, yes. And I need to move one and one, all of them. So at one point I was, I don't want to do it. I don't want to move it. But at one point it's like, okay, let me go and do it. So at one point I was doing one by one, and really I discovered that little by little was easier and easier and easier to remove. And at one point it's like, you know what? Let me go and write and sit down to drop that. So I was writing and burning the paper. It's like I don't want that energy any near to me. So really what I want people to listen right now is you are not alone. It's not so difficult, but can be super easy. At the beginning it's frightening, but then when you take that breath and you begin to do it, makes a change.
So beautiful. And we all deserve that. And
yes.
Life can be very, very challenging for so many of us, and the way that we perceive the events that happen in life, especially as children, we don't know otherwise, or that there's something on the other side. And because the body is a robot controlled by the mind, and we have those reoccurring thoughts over and over and over, it's no wonder we keep responding in that, trauma mindset and the anxious mindset. And so I really love what you brought up, Angel, that essential piece of when we have that understanding, we can cut it off and we can say, I am not in danger at this moment. And because of that, I can release, I can calm down, I can relax, and I can respond differently and move throughout life differently. I also want to bring, I want to highlight again too, Rocio, I mentioned, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Angel, you as well. You know, being able to share the traumas of ourselves is huge. It's so difficult to get to that time and that moment and that point where we can share it easily, where it's no longer affecting us to where, you know, you kind of go back into that moment when you, in the beginning, when you start sharing those things, you because your body remembers that. And again, because it's on that constant loop, it wants to respond that way because you've been doing it for years and years and years and years. And so I just appreciate you doing that. You two wrote this book, mostly highlighting women, but you know, Angel, you bring so much to the table and to the forefront with this. What is it like? Do you guys ever offer this to men, or do you really just highlight women in general, or both sexes? What is that like for you?
Thanks for the question, April. When we were writing, and one day Rocio had a dream, woke up and said, hey, I dreamt something last night. The book and everything we're doing needs to be about women. And it just stood there for a moment, and it was, yeah, of course, because women had always played such an important part of my lives, you know, and not just my personal life growing up, but also professionally. And so when we started doing this, it just made sense, right? On top of that, if you add the fact that the women are such a nucleus to society, they impact society in so many more ways than we give them credit for. And there's countless studies that show that when you help a woman and she becomes empowered, everything around her changes, her family, her village, her society, and so on. And so it made perfect sense that we would do that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so important to recognize it. And really,
I don't think enough of us do recognize it, including myself.
Yeah.
I think many women societally, for so many generation after generation after generation, have been geared to not recognize the feminine essence, the beauty, the power, the gift that is to the world, to everyone. And I think that there's a lot of healing that needs to come to the forefront for that. So I certainly don't think that you're on the wrong path with that.
You know, April, if we have two legs. If one of them is ill or damaged, we spend time healing it so that it comes back to that state in which it can stand on its own and be equal with the other leg. I see women that way for so long, way too long. The world has been, as we know, very patriarchal. It's time to go back and not exceed, it's to really make them equal so that we have two strong columns in which we can stand tall. And that's why we dedicated the book and the stories to the women. And it's beautifully, many men are reading the book.
Yes.
Which signals to a shift that's happening in our mindset, the mindset of men. And they're finding it helpful. At the end of the day, the 5 things that we speak about, awareness, gratefulness, forgiveness, acceptance, and intention, are human qualities. And so when you use them, when you use those tools to improve your life, you improve the life, yours, your partners, and everything around you, as you mentioned before, because the energy is so absolutely powerful and travels and is profound. And so really it's about women, but and it's fair to say this as well, for also a long period of time, women have been reading books that have been written by men and for men and about men. And so there's nothing wrong, I think, to picking up a book that has been inspired for women, but really is for the human race. It's for love. It's for the development of love. And the last thing that I would say is that it's also about the feminine power in me, in each one of us. Because I truly believe that the balance in each of us, it's about achieving that balance between being aggressive and forceful and ready to take action, but at the same time ensuring that that is complemented by kindness, by nurturing, by listening, by speaking, all of those beautiful qualities too that have been traditionally feminine. And so that's why we focused it in the way in which we did, but it's certainly not just for women.
And I love to add that when you give this book to a man, he is going to understand what happened to women, how they think, plus is going to create a bridge to really to conversation in a couple or to parents for a father to understand better the daughters. And is something that's why we create this, for people to see that read a novel and you're gonna gain a vocabulary to really understand what is happening with somebody who has a challenge, and to understand that really the best way we can give them is time, listening, and support.
Yeah. You know, you two have brought so many incredible points to the forefront today. And Angel, you really brought a lovely way of explaining that, much better than I could have. And as a man, it's a healing that we all need to experience. And men and women have so many wonderful things to bring and complement each other with. We're different, and it's wonderful that we're different, because that's the compliment, right? It's the how we can show up in the world to best serve it and just have this beautiful relationship with each other and create some magnificent things. And it leads to creation, right? And so what powerful beings we are. And so I like that you bring in that this is also healing for the masculine, for men to be able to lift, to understand, our men's own traumas as children. You have a better understanding of why people have reacted and responded the way they have for so many generations, because it's just been like that. So it's a no wonder. And it's that piece where now I get to help and hold and respond to my partner or to my daughters or to my mother or whoever, whatever. And so I appreciate you both. You have brought, again, a lot to the forefront. Being a better human being after being healed yourself. You talked a lot, Rocio, about being a greater mother. You're no longer in that reaction mode where you have this anger inside of you. And so that's, trickling off to your daughters. Now you are more patient, loving, caring, compassionate, understanding, all of the things. And your relationship has healed that way. Boy, you two are fabulous. Thank you so much. And I want to make sure that everyone knows where to find you. I've had it displayed here on the screen again. And I'll put you in the solo layout so people can see your book. It's just right behind you if you guys want to bring it up.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's called The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. It's in all platforms. We have it in ebook and audiobook too. We spend a lot of time really creating an experience. So when you listen, it's like we put music, everything. It's like really to serve society. Is the book that I wish the people had around me when I need the support. Really.
Right.
It's been really well received. People are calling it a Band-Aid to the soul. People are reading it by themselves. Some people are buying it for a group of friends or women. And Rocio hinted to this. The moment that you have language, the moment that you can actually come to the table and share and say, well, what was it like for you? And really create that space. Even that space that's open for someone to speak, that's healing. That's part of that process that allows it to bring it to the surface. And that's how the healing begins. I look at it like a puzzle. We have this 1,000-piece puzzle in front of us that it's called life. And you go through each piece and you try to see how it fits with everything else. But little by little, you figure it out, and somebody comes and say, hey, did you see this one? It's like, oh my gosh, no, it's been in front of my face all the time. And little by little, we start creating this image, and we start to see the beauty of whatever it is that image is, which is our lives. And so we encourage people to read our book, read other books, listen to podcasts such as this one, yes, and start to understand that the power is within you. You don't have to earn it. It is already a gift that has been given to you, that light inside of you, but it's covered by these things that happen to us, and these ideas and these behaviors and pain. And if you start taking away all of those coverings little by little with a lot of love, and it takes time sometimes. Some people can do it quicker. I was able to. Some people need a little bit more time, as Rocio did, but we can still get there, and we can help each other do that.
Ah, absolutely gorgeous. Thank you again, you two. Wow. You have been so wonderful, so awesome to share your journeys and with us and with the world, and continue to do so. I also want to highlight that I believe you have a community that goes along with that book, so people can communicate with others along this journey, this healing journey, and remembering that as we heal ourselves, we heal all those around us and generations to come. And as I said before, for those of you viewing in, you can see the website displayed on the screen. For those of you listening in, theorchidbook.com, easy peasy. Check it out. It's also in the description below. Again, thank you, the two of you, Rocio, Angel, for being guests on the Wellness Driven Life Show.
It's a pleasure to be here. And remember, the most important part is to invest in yourself.
Thank you, April. We appreciated this time, and really to you listening and watching. You are powerful beyond belief. Take it small steps at a time, and reach out to anybody who you think can aid you along the way, because it's possible. You can do it.
Oh, thank you. Goodbye for now, and we will see you all next time.
I'm hoping this mask will provide me a safe place to hide.